guys, let's start today's video. Let's see what we have today. Yesterday's problem I couldn't figure it out at all. It was so hard, so I didn't make a video yesterday. I did struggle a bit with that, but okay, let's continue with today. Let's see what we got. Maximum path score in a grid. You're given a grid where each cell contains values 0, 1, or 2. You're also given an integer k. Each cell, I think we did this a similar one. Okay, let's read it again. I think it's depth first search again, right? Okay, let's look at this. You start from the corner and want to reach the bottom right corner by moving only right or down. So we go either only right or down. Each cell contributes a specific score and incurs an associated cost according to their cell values. 0 adds 0. 2 adds. Okay, so return the maximum score achievable without exceeding a total cost of k. Return the maximum as long as the cost is less than k, not if the path is invalid. Okay, so what do we have to do? Let's say, okay, let's look at this example given 0, 1, 2, 0. 0, and then here. So you have to keep a track of score, cost, total score is so we don't minus the cost, right? Each cell contributes without, oh, we just check the total cost is k. Okay, let's think about, let's look at the other example. Example 2, what are the constraints? Are m and m is less than or equal to 200. K could be, values could be a lot. Okay, so what do we have? We have given a grid, right? And then let me create another grid of 3 by 2. We have given values 1, 0, 2, 0, 1, 2. So what do we want to do is we start at the top left corner, right? So our starting position is given, right? And the only thing that we are allowed, you're given a starting, and we want to reach the bottom right corner by only moving right or down. So if I'm at 0, 0, right? So this is 0, 1, this is 0, 1, 2. So this is 0, 1, 0, right? This. So moving right means, so this is 0, 1. Moving right is you add 1, right? And moving down is you add 1 to the row. Moving right means this, moving down. So we start at 0, 0, we move right and we check. So we also have to make sure we are within the bounds, right? If we are out of bound, we continue. So if we move down or right, what do we have to check? We have to keep track of the cost. For 0, it doesn't matter, right? Cost is 0 and your score is 0. For 0, we can just skip. But do we have to? If value is 0, cost adds 0 to the score and cost is 0. So basically we don't need that. But if value is 1 or 2, our cost is 1. Okay, so let's so what do we want to do? So we start from 0, 0. We look at both the cells, left or right, and we will choose the cell with return the maximum score available. Okay, so it's definitely depth first search. Okay, let's see. So first, what do we need? We start at 0, 0, right? And then we use depth first search. So let me create, so what do what do you want? What do I want? So I know I started 0, 0, right? Let me create static directions. Public static static. So what do I need? Direction. Should I create a list of directions? So I have a list of 0, 1 and 1, 0, right? So how like on moving right is adding d bracket 0 is moving right, and adding d bracket, if this is d, so I could just have direction is 1, 1, right? Because moving right, again as I said, moving right means we add the second value, moving down means we add the first value. So if I am at 0, 0, I check if I add 1, 0, so return an integer. We have private returns an integer DFS. First starts integer DFS that takes in what does it take? It takes the grid integer, it takes the grid, then it also takes integer row, integer column, which will be 0, 0, and then right, so I will do something like return DFS of what? Of grid, comma, start at 0, 0, I pass an integer array of directions. Right. Static chip array directions equals to integer array of going right 0, 1 and comma 1, 0. I pass it the directions, right? I also want to pass it the value of k, because I want to compare with k, right? Teacher k. So let me have a teacher. Let me initialize. Return the maximum score. Teacher score equals to 0. Teacher cost equals to 0. So what are we doing? So for we start at I equals to 0, right? Oh, I equals to r and I must be less than one second. Bottom integer n equals to grid dot length integer n equals to grid bracket 0 dot length, right? So we have a number of rows and columns, and I have initialized the store and cost variables. Now I want to start at 0, 0. So if our How do we do a depth first search? So do I loop through all the integer I equals to 0, I must be less than, no, because I don't want to loop through. We start at 0 0, right? That's our base. So for if r equals to, if our final reaches to m minus 1, that's our base case, and row and column equals to n minus 1, and our cost is cost not exceeding less than equal to k. We return what? We return the value of score, right? And then we check if r, so if that's our base case scenario, right? If our cost is less than equal to k, this is our base case. Next we check if our, we need to check, we have to also keep our row is, if r is less than 0, or check the boundaries, low is less than, row is greater than, sorry, m, or column is less than 0, or column is greater than, column is greater than n, greater than m minus 1, n, right? So m minus 1 is valid. We continue. Else we do what? Else for what? For integer redirection, for our directions, for array d in directions, right? Our integer new row equals to r plus d bracket 0, and integer new column equals to r plus d bracket, so whatever is those value, and then we check, now we perform a DFS on this. Given value teacher, let me start at the integer value equals to whatever is in grid bracket 0 0 and 0, right? You are given let me so integer value, right? So for our integer value, so start at 0, so integer value, if what, if value equal to 1, or value equal to 2, right? We given value is 1 or 2, our cost plus equals to 1, right? And score plus equals to value. So this is the basic. So for value f, so first we started grid 0 0, right? And then if we check if else, if it is a new row, new ss, so I get the new row and column, right? And then I do, if I get new row and column, then I do value teacher new row, and then I do DFS of what? Grid, comma, oh, to see, pass the grid, new, oh, new R, new column, new row, new column, comma, directions, comma, K. Is this, so once we get, so for left or down, we go left or down, so we have to return the maximum score achievable. How do I check score plus equals to, how do I keep a track of the maximum? So if I have two paths to take, right? So if I have two paths, where is my, I don't even know. So if I have two paths to choose, so if I go down first path, I have the new values and I check, and what do I want to check? I want to maximize the score without exceeding cost K. Do I have, if our cost exceeds K, we return -1. Let's look at some hints. Oh, they're asking us to use dynamic programming. Is this equals to max score at ij with the total cost? Okay, let's see if our method is even a bit correct. So I was trying to think of depth first search. Okay. To each cell, you don't just care about, you also care about how much cost, so the state is, you want to store maximum score achievable. Okay, so we create a new solution. What I was thinking was wrong. So we initialize everything to -1. This new array, that is row, column, and our cost. So we initialize this start to 0. We go through each row, each column, and each cost. Cost must be less than equal to k. If is equal to -1. So we need start at 0, 0, 0. That's correct. 0, 0. Try moving. 0, 0. Explain this loop. So the outer loop, we go through each cell for every possible cost useful. At this point, we are looking at row skip any invalid state. If TP, if we have declosed it. Try moving. Art. Move to the teacher value equals to new cost is less than equal to k. For example, if I have 0, 1, 2, 0, start at 0, 0, 0. Okay, let's try to, so since I've done it wrong, so what I need to learn is this, I need to somehow learn this concept, that is dynamic programming concept. So initially we initialize this arrays dot fill, this dp array dot fill teacher I dp of I and j arrays dot fill initialize with -1. Okay. understand again. So we have the row and column, and then we initialize a dynamic array which is at this row, column, and cost what is our maximum score. So we initialize all the maximum score as -1. So for each row and column, array start fill. So we start at 0 for integer row, 0 column 0. Cost is 0 and cost must be less than equal to k cost. If dynamic programming of cost equal initialize to -1, we continue. Direction or new row is row plus 0, right? If new row is greater than continue integer. So to cost plus value equal to 0. Cost is 0 or 1, right? New cost is less than k. dp of cost equals to math and max of new cost comma. What is this meaning? If our new cost value is less than k, or the maximum at that time is equal to math dot max of that comma new cost comma initializing is cost here. Is cost. Explain this. So we are at some state. We want to move to new row. If new cost is less than equal, only contribute update. Let's just take the best. Best. Let's say so we are keeping the best version. Teacher. So initially we initialize everything to -1, yeah, and then we have dynamic programming of follow the 0. And if our row, column, and cost is, so we loop through all the rows, column, and the cost. 0 must be less than whatever cost is. So 0 is 0. Dynamic programming. If the value is -1, we continue. Value integer new cost is equal to cost plus previous cost plus value. Okay, if new cost is less than equal to k, we create the equal to math or whatever value we have at that comma the previous whatever value when we reach there plus previous plus value on value. Okay, so once we have all of that, so we initialize our dp array, right, for answer for cost equal to 0, cost must be less than answer. So for answer copper dp of dp of m -1 and -1 different cost values. How much k do we have? K is less than let's try to solve this. See how we do. So we have teacher m is equal to grid dot length, right? Teacher n is number of columns, grid bracket 0 dot length, right? Then what do? We create a new integer dp array. New integer of what? M bracket n bracket we do k plus 1, right? And then we do initialize true for teacher I equals to 0, I must be less than mi plus plus, right? And then for integer j equals to 0, j must be less than n, and j plus plus, j must be less than I must be less than m, sorry, right? And what are we doing? Arrays, arrays dot fill what? dp of I and j is minus 1, right? dp of I and j is minus 1, and then we start at 0, dp of 0 0 equals to initialize at 0. And then what do? For we loop through rows, column, and cost, right? Teacher for teacher row equals to 0, r must be less than m, r plus plus. For teacher column equals to 0, column must be less than n, column plus plus. And then for cost equals to 0, teacher row column, right? And cost must be less than equal to k, right? Because we can have, as long as it's not over k. And cost plus plus, what do we do? If our value at if dp of row, column, cost equal to minus 1, we continue, right? We continue. If not, then we have integer array directions equals to new of 0, 1, 0, right? Or of type in new, just 0, 1, and 1, 0. Okay. So we go through the directions for teacher array d in the directions. We check our new row equals to r plus curves bracket 0, or d bracket 0, and teacher new column equals to d of column plus d bracket 1. That's correct, right? So we have a new column and new row, and then we check if they are out of bounds. If new row is greater than m, or new column is greater than n, greater than equal to 0, passed, then we continue, right? Continue, and then teacher value equals to grid bracket of new row and new column, correct? And teacher what do we have? dp of new row bracket new column bracket, then we look through the cost, sorry, so for, right, teacher value, oh yeah, and teacher new cost equals to cost plus If not, then we add one. Right. If or what? If the new cost is less than equal to k, right, then we dynamic of new row, new column, and cost equals to math.max of dynamic programming of new row, new column, cost, this or new cost, right? Whatever value we have there, comma, this and new cost, comma, dynamic programming of row, column, cost plus the value. Okay. एक दो तीन चार पाँच. So integer answer equals to -1 for cost. Cost, I already have cost here. No, I don't have for, right? We have an integer. Cost equal to 0. Each cost equal to 0. Cost must be less than equal to k. Cost plus plus. Right. Answer equals to math.max. Max of what? Max of dp of m minus 1 n minus 1 bracket cost. I think that should be it. And what am I doing? So return answer equal to -1, then return answer equal to -1, then return -1, if not return answer. Right, let's try to see where we make some syntax errors. Okay. Cannot find symbol. New C is capital. Measure new cost. New cost. Math dot. It's wrong here. Not math dot max. Excuse me. Let's see what's wrong. Oh yeah. Yeah, stupid me. That's what I was like. Max answer. All of that. Let's try to submit. It's not the most optimal, right? Yeah, let this guy. ChatGPT. But pressing space at version. This version is compresses raw, so you need me submit this. Let me try to understand. So what actually is happening in this guy's code is max path score k equals to math dot minimum of k plus n minus 2. K is equal to n. Okay, I don't know what's happening here. Let's see. What is this doing? Yes. I'm gonna have to study this later. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, today was like kind of failed. My idea was using depth first search. That wasn't meant to be.